everyone. Wishing you all a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening. Green morning, green afternoon, and green evening, wherever you are. It's indeed a great pleasure to meet our all brothers and sisters, children across the world, wherever you are. And these are difficult times, but still, I think the world is getting back to the normal. It's moving at a slow pace, but I think things are getting better. Things are getting better, and coming days, we will be once again not to what it used to be in January and February, but certainly we got to move forward. We will not go back to what it was in January. Certainly, we are far, far ahead. Children have started enjoying digital. Teachers are also very comfortable. Flip learning, digital learning, blended learning, outside classroom learning, under the tree learning, Vedanta kind of a learning, all that kind of thing is coming up in a very big way. At the same time, there are a couple of challenges. I won't call them issues, they are challenges. But we'll overcome them also because we are very, very positive. So making education and skills relevant is our series, what we are taking forward. And it's a proud privilege. Today is 1158th webinar during this pandemic. And sometime when I look back, it's wondering, 4 webinars in a day, sometimes 5 webinars in a day, sometimes whole day conference. Oh my God, what a support from all of you. You all are wonderful people on this planet. Thank you very much. It's a Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. So for the last 2 days, we had wonderful deliberations, a lot to learn. As a humble student, I picked up a lot of things. And today we are coming to the conclusion of these 3 days golden triangle when we talk about. And today we are taking on innovative education for equity, equality and equity. We will take on that further. So we extend a very warm welcome to Madam Chanchala Yalamanchi ma'am, who is a Harvard certified school leader. Madam Sunita Fatis ma'am, she is senior education consultant. Chanchala ma'am is in Hyderabad and Sunita ma'am is in Bangalore. Both the cities are wonderful. We all enjoy. We are sorry to hear that Madam Murthy's husband is not well. That's why she will not be able to join. Some medical emergency. We only pray to Almighty. Everything is fine. And we wish a speedy recovery to a person. Now, with these words, ladies and gentlemen, let's move ahead and let's take on the journey forward. And over here, if you recall, true value of education we discussed, that's on Thursday, yesterday, and 2nd of September. And today when we are moving forward, before that, I also want to remind that on 1st of September, we had Igniting Young Minds. Because ultimately, we did discuss what is the purpose of education, what is the purpose of skills. And yesterday, Sunita ma'am, very nicely, very fondly, I remembered my late Sir Ken Robinson. There are 4 purposes of education. We used to often talk with each other. First, he used to say that as far as the Western philosophy is concerned, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam is your philosophy. Ours is, if I'm doing something, what is the economic benefit of that? So, economic. Second was cultural. Third was social. And fourth was, why I'm studying a particular subject. And there we had taken personal purpose. If I study a particular thing, why, what, how, which way, we will talk about that. On behalf of our chamber, we extend a very warm welcome to all our brothers and sisters. There are more than 31.4 million Indians abroad. Now, as the world is moving forward and we are reviving our situation, I think revival of tourism is very essential. With that is linked your hospitality sector. With that is your transportation, your airlines, your rail network, your road transportation, your cruises, everything. And then along with that, your retail, your shopping, your logistics. Because during this pandemic time, edtech platforms, and particularly when you talk about digital platforms, e-commerce platforms, home deliveries, whatever we talk about, that has done altogether a different kind of a work. So what is the need of the hour? First of all, let's first understand, very important, what is the purpose of education and how to make education relevant to our day-to-day life and day-to-day living. Then comes question, the new education policy, 66 pages. When you go on to the Ministry of Education's website, you can see it over there. You can enjoy reading. And Sunita ma'am mentioned that she read it number of times. Today, one question I would like to ask the audience, and anybody who tells the correct answer, you get 1,000 rupees with the opening remarks of today's webinar. How many times in the 66 pages a word vocational has been used? I'll repeat the question again. It's a 1,000 rupees question. So you all should be very clear about it, what I'm asking. My question is very simple. Hearty welcome to Julie Subba ma'am, all the way from Manipur, Monu Kapoor ma'am, and Panditji, all the way, we need your blessings. You're a wonderful person. He basically wrote the lyrics and composed and sung India's first tourism song in 1996. Pankaj Tripathi ji from Gorakhpur, all the way from Aditya Yoginath ji's constituency place. So hearty welcome to you also. Info students, Joba Lakshmi from Tripura, and Roshni Biham, and then Deepa Hazarika, and then Nishank Maurya, Gurinderji, Senior Consultant, Vikram Jha, and Vimalji, BB Subba Foundation, Manisha Chaturvedi, Mamta Manisha, and then Mamta Chauhan, and then, of course, other dignitaries. Those are joining. Hearty welcome to all of you. You know, sometimes it's nice to read out the names also. So question I'm repeating for you once again. I'm giving you a little cushion time. You can reply within next 3 minutes. And whosoever gives the correct answer first, you get 1,000 rupees this evening. There are 66 pages policy, New Education Policy 2020, which was released on 29th of July 2020. How many times word vocational has been used in this entire policy framework? Anybody who writes the number, the figure correctly, you get 1,000 rupee. And I would be very clear over here that competition is who writes first. I'm not interested about history. I'm interested about figure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like that, you got to write the figure. 7 or 8 or 9, numerical. Okay. We started another beautiful journey because tourism is recovering. We have just finished with the film tourism of Northeast, and we covered all the 8 states. What is the potential of cinematic tourism, film tourism, media entertainment tourism as far as Northeast part of concern? And now we are doing the golf series, golf green tourism for the whole country. This we started on 31st August, and it's a beautiful journey. Today's webinar was so captivating. Children didn't want to finish that webinar. I was pleasantly surprised. Question after question they have been asking. Children have curiosity. Children have creativity. What they need is right holding and right info and something which should reward them. That is something very important which we all have to work out. So Destination India, Golf, Green Tourism, welcome to Jammu and Kashmir. We started with Jammu and Kashmir, then we have done Himachal, then we have done Punjab, then we have done Chandigarh, then we have done Haryana, and today we had what skills are required to become a golfer. And today we got one of the very eminent, very prestigious coach for golfing who discussed with us with Rajan Saigalji. And today happens to be his birthday also, Mr. Rajan Saigal, the president of the India Golf Tourism Association. Happy birthday to you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, 5th is India Teachers Day. 5th September is India Teachers Day, and 5th October is World Teachers Day. Now, on 5th September, India Teachers Day, we are getting one visionary who is the former president of the University of Texas in the United States. Very distinguished, outstanding person. I had a couple of interactions with him. It's a treat to listen to him. And he's going to discuss with us day after tomorrow at 8 p.m. re-envisioning the higher education for the 21st century. And he's going to give us some solutions because the fee is skyrocketing. What we are teaching may not be relevant. It may be obsolete. It may be obsolescent. And by the time you pass out, it may not be relevant to your corporate sector. Corporate sector crying all the time that the children, those are coming out of and you're churning out, they are not adoptable by the corporate sector. As it is, they are not skilled. And that goes for even higher education. Those are doing engineering and management. So when we talk about it, we will take that into consideration. A lot of replies are coming. Sakshi has written, Nisha Agarwal has written, Gurinder has written, Ishita has written, Nanlai has written, S. Vosa has written, and Vimal has written. Great. Let me go ahead. Excuse me. Now, what is the new order post-pandemic for all of us? Basic food, basic health, mental fitness, robustness, toughness, sustainable development all around, and need-based education, digital education, e-learning, blended learning, mixed learning. But most important is earn and learn. You must earn your pocket money. That is something we very strongly believe from our side. So whatever human mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Let's come together for service industry empowerment. And we all are together talking about education relevance. And somebody said earlier, but this we have been using right from 25th of March 2020, making education relevant to our day-to-day life. And the other day when Sunita ji, ma'am, was talking, and she did have the passing remarks on that it has to be relevant to our daily life. And that's what we have done lots of research and we have put it over here. We also discussed how to make education ecosystem innovative. And this is all we have been sharing with all of you. And I'm grateful to all the leaders of the education who have been coming and who have given so much of support. We had done one program earlier, education innovation. We will discuss some other day. We have also done equality and equity earlier. And this was something very nice, hilarious, happiness. Then we had also done, the other one, equity in education, 10 guiding principles where adopt, drive, expand. This also we had done. Let's move forward from here. Innovative education for equity. And by the time we'll close the session today, we will have some musical notes also, all of us together. We are proud Bharatiya. We are proud Indian. A lot of people are joining us from Canada, USA, Latin America, and Europe as well. I'm grateful to all of them. Thank you very much. And from Central Asia, Dr. Shilpi ma'am is joining. I'm grateful to her as well. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, let's move ahead and let's convey our thanks to all the dignitaries, those are coming on the platform with us today. So join me in extending a very warm welcome to Madam Chanchla Yalamanchi and Madam Sunita Fatnis ma'am. Hearty welcome. Pleasure. Namaskar to both the ladies. Hearty welcome. And I would request Chanchla ma'am to take on the lead and set the context. And thereafter, we go to Sunita ma'am and we take the proceedings further.
Thank you, Gulshan sir, for setting the floor rolling. And yes, you've already done sessions on equity and innovation. Yes, but yes, add a little more flavor to what was already done. Few more insights about how world is changing and how people are thinking about, but what actually equity and innovation is all about. Yes. Sir, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. We can see that.
Yes. So yes, sir has showed us equity and equality. A lot of times in across professions, I would say, there is some amount of lot of emphasis on equality. We speak a lot about equality, and equity is something that we all just overlook. We all think we are all the same, we need the same. We are all different. We are all different individuals needing, there's a need for a difference in what we cater to. Let it be education, let it be any sector. If we are imparting, and especially education, because we are imparting competencies, skills, attitudes, and this is related to mind, heart, and soul. So, this is something which is very important because we have to cater to them based on equity. Individual necessities are different. I cater the same thing that I have to do in education. I teach the same way. Not everybody learns the same way. I teach the same way to, I address the same way to each parent. No, not every parent is the same. Not every child is having the same family background. So here I have to change from equality. I would say equality is necessary, but there is a lot more need for equity. Yes, this then we said education innovation, which is leading to equality. But when we look at the OECD document or report on innovation across professions, this is the report where we have education. I mean, when we say innovation, it comes across three different categories of innovation we talk about. We talk about knowledge, we talk about technology, we talk about product or the service that we are giving. So there, I say there is an alarming thing where knowledge and methods are amazing. We have achieved quite a lot. But when we look at the use of technology or the product-oriented service that we are rendering, yes, that is an area where we need to move up. We have to scale up. This is something which I thought if this chart, if I look at, this is something I really have to look for, because communication sector is the one where you can easily see it is totally product oriented, it is service oriented, the amazing product that it is releasing at the end of the day. So education is something that in one sector which is in need of innovation, and need of innovation for equity, yes, the need of the present hour, I would say. Yes, I don't say that education is not an innovation averse. It's never an innovation averse. Yes, it just needs a strong, efficient system where knowledge creation and diffusion can happen. It is innovation keeps happening in education. We have seen how we have brought in technology, we have brought in different methods. We say, even before gamification came, we said the classroom should include activities, hands-on activities. It should include reaching out to your heart, involvement of art, music. Everything was there for a long time. But somewhere, equity was blocking it, because we thought if we are doing it this way, I'm reaching out to every student, but no, equity was still at a loss, because product that you see in the chart, which is really alarming. Yes, this is a report from Harvard, which says COVID did happen. And this is the framework which Harvard gave for reopen of schools post-COVID. It says it is a boon in the field of education because it did bring in changes. We did move to technology. There was resistance. Yes, not from across the globe, if you see, people move to technology. Let it be students, let it be teachers, let it be administrative end. Wherever there was some amount of resistance, I would say they have moved forward. Yes, we have told kids be self-learners. There are no more. I'm not going to handhold on an online session and say, this is how you write. We said, yes, please do it. Please handle your classes. Come on online. So we managed them to move them from teacher-centric learning to learner-centric learning, where they are a little more motivated because technology is something that they love. Yes, we have strengthened the involvement of parents because we moved out of the four walls into their houses. We did multi-sectoral coordination because, yes, there was, if I did not include health, if I have not included like technology partners, everything. I mean, we had platforms where there was a lot of emphasis on health. We brought in doctors to interact with students. We brought in, we felicitated the health support staff in health industry. And then we have done the integration of technology. We have done integration of examination portals, digi portals. We opened gates for gamification. So there were a lot of involvements that has strengthened the system. We went multi-sectoral, which is amazing. Then we said teacher is at home. We gave the pedagogy autonomy to the teachers, telling that, yes, you can do it and you will do it. And this is something which we were slightly resistant on. Teachers gained more confidence. Teachers started being lifelong learners. So this is something which was great that happened during COVID. Yes, there was suddenly individual interest leading to societal interest. We started empathizing kids. We started telling kids what is the need of the hour. Yes, so from schools, from the textbooks, we took them beyond to the society. There was reinforcement of global citizenship. We felt for every nation which was going through it. We have strengthened the public and the private partnership too. So these are, this is not my input, this is absolutely data-driven. The data that I'm presenting is by Harvard, and they have done across nations. And this is a culmination of the report. Yes, to a great extent we have done, but still, if you see across, there is, to a great extent we have done, still there is some amount that we still have to do. And World Economic Forum says, yes, there is a spark of innovation that is required in education, and you can do it through this. They said, provide them compelling environment where, yes, COVID did compel us to move to innovation. We had ambitious goals. We had set our trend and we moved towards innovation. We have created, we have picked, we have benchmarked our progress. We had evaluated our progress. We started setting higher goals, telling that, yes, this is the way forward. And this is what all the aspects that World Economic Forum has given us for the spark of innovation in education, we have touched. We have tried a lot during the COVID times. But then equity during COVID was something which is a big question mark because, yes, there are challenges. This is the same report from Harvard that I'm presenting to you, where when we look at the priorities that we have to immediately put in, in the post-COVID during the crisis, first, very important one is the continuum of academic learning, which is very, very critical. Then where is the professional support or advice to the teachers? How are we placed? How are we placed for the well-being of students, well-being of teachers? And there is lack of skill for independent study. Yes, we did say students pick up, but we all know how the academics happened. Then we said mental health was a real concern, and equity with regard to mental health was again a big question mark. Ensuring continuity for assessment. Who else can say the best when we are in the CBSE curriculum? What happened to the assessment? Yes, we are the great transition policy that was imposed was not something that we were following. Medical attention for teachers, for staff, this is something which is really important during this crisis. I would say define a new curriculum which is in sync for the need of the art, like Gulshanji said. How are we preparing them? Is our academic calendar according to what is the need of the hour? What is the requirement for the life skills? Is it preparing our child for the future, for the multidimensional skill set? Are we still stuck with one annual day, one sports day, and small things that we get into our calendar? No, there is a need for revisiting that. And taking them to the social services is a big, big need and a want. Yesterday, when we were sharing, we were talking about environmental crisis. So this is where this is the major need. And then, like Gulshanji said, food, distribution of food is also a major crisis. And how do I overcome these challenges? Yes, there are challenges for me to reach out to this because there is unavailability of technological infrastructure. It is not equally balanced. There is no equity among the complete globe, I would say. Even why taking the globe, even within our infrastructure, there's a drastic inequality and equity, I would say, with regard to technology. And then when it comes to addressing the emotional health, have there been policies? Have there been anything that we are doing for the mental health of our students? Where are we? This is a major challenge. Are we prepared? Was the education giving them the attitude to adapt to situations? Yes, there was equality issues even with regard to this. There was lack of availability of parents. Some parents are working, they are working. There's no involvement or support to the child even back at home. And then managing the infrastructural, there were too many technical glitches or the gadgets availability or anything. Then there is lack of adequate communication. When the teacher would come to meet us during a PTM, there was a personal connect. There was beyond that we would look forward for. There was a social connect that we were making. There was an emotional connect that we were making. So this again is a challenge. I post in one, and with the technology coming in, I say that please do come, or there are mails being sent, or there are WhatsApp messages, or any other form of platform where we are using, we're just sending them. But that is leading to major gaps in communication between the parent and the teacher, the school community. Then there is lack of even, are we instigating our teachers? Are we pushing our teachers to adapt? There's still a resistance and a long way to go to reach the goal. Yes, requirement is continuity of our physical educational services. This is really vulnerable. This is required for equity. Parental engagement, equity with regard to parental engagement is a must and a need for the hour. And multilingual learning that NEP has brought in is a beautiful concept. And ensuring the socio-emotional needs is very, very important that are to be met. When I look at equity, one thing that comes to me is the sensitivity aspect of it. And when I map it, I would, of all the stakeholders that we have, I would put the sensitivity for teachers and students on my topmost list. Because if I'm fostering safety and equity, what should I do? Because the relationship had a bridge. If I have to achieve equity, if I have to make it more innovative, I have to start again on their equities. I have to understand each individual's needs. I have to bring in cultural competency and merge it with equity and achieve equity. And increase the implementation of universal design of learning rather than compartmentalized learning systems. Build relationship between like a mentor and a mentee. Create that culture of joy between the education system and the children. Empower students with self-care. These are something which are, let it be student, let it be teacher, these are prime set things. But if I go beyond, I would say first build the community. Build the community of parent, teacher, society, community, all the stakeholders. Work with the community partners who are with the physical health and the mental health, which is a need. There, are we catering to each individual's equity? Yes, there is innovation required in this sector. And first, create that empathy where they're acknowledging the grief or whatever mental state the child has gone through, whatever the mental state the teacher has gone through. That is something that we have to, because I still get as a school leader, the calls from parents say, today this teacher is unavailable. It's been a week, the teacher is unavailable. Do we even know the reason behind it? They might be unwell, they might be a death. Are we empathizing them? So first I would say acknowledging the mental health and the grief, attaining equity over there is the prime thing when we are back to school. And then very important thing is re-establishing the routine and the connection. Yes, there are gaps. We have to set it back to set innovation and equity into our system. I would say set in the routine and the reconnection. And then the teacher has to self-regulate. The mindfulness to teach self-regulation, let it be a teacher or the student, is, and creating a vision. We had visions across, I think every school, every institute has to create a new vision for themselves to attain equity, because my whole philosophy is for attaining equity. It's just not for the academics, it's for the mental, physical, and the emotional health. And I would say Yes, there's a lot being talked about digital. We are getting innovative in digital technology, but we all say we have done the innovation. We got into the digital world. It is still that the technology has to leverage their potential, the students' potential, and it is to achieve better teaching learning practices still. So yes, to achieve all this equity, I would say there's a lot of innovation that is required. Lot of innovation that is required, lot of strategies that are required for us to go forward. Yes, I would actually stop my slide share, and I would say I would uh, go with the case study at the end of it, where I want to really share something that has yes, 1 minute. So I would say there's more that we have to do. I just spoke about kids and schooling system, but I think youth, because we are into the youth empowerment, I would say, yes, Sunita ma'am, please, and start the floor with the youth empowerment that we are talking about when we speak about innovation and equity. Ma'am, your mic.
Sorry. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. We do use technology, but then we assume technology will take care of itself. That's what happens.
That time will also come.
Yes, sir. So it's a beautiful, the causes which you have mentioned for lack of equity and the need for equity and how we can go about it. It's a beautiful encapsulated version of what we need, what we have done, what we are going to face, and how we go forward. To me, youth, also there would be students who are in their 11 and 12. I would look at that, or adolescents and beyond. I think we were talking in the afternoon, and Chanchala very nicely mentioned, why are we only looking at students and youth? Even women are going through a lot. Can we also bring that component in? I think Dr. Gulshan also was mentioning it is important. We're looking at the unrepresented, and we went on a journey of understanding where we stand. Okay, so I'll just start with that. Yes, just. Okay, very beautifully. This is a picture which I found. When you look at the youth today, there's so much that's happening in their head. My God. They're always connected to the social media. You find them, they have news at the tip of their fingers. They have questions which never end. I have a youth at home. My daughter always has this question of why. Is caste important? Is privilege what makes me so wonderful? Why is college education so costly? And COVID has cut off our chances of being with our professors. A lot of things coming through. She's not the only one. I think these questions are there in everyone's mind, right? From a working professional to a youth. So what are we looking at? What does the world see for these people? One of the things which I found very, very pertinent and extremely nice because it hits you. It hits you right on the head, and it says, listen, Guy Ryder, who is the ILO Director General, has made a beautiful statement. He is talking about what the youth is going through. Just don't worry about, it's multiple. The kind of effect it has on them is something that you have to look at. And he's used a word, shock. Here was a group, the millennials were growing comfortably, used to a lot of things happening. We always say that instant gratification. Our children have grown up with that. Whatever they asked for, they got, at least in our sect. Coming to the others, it may not be so. But whoever it has been, they had a little better life that we have had in terms of getting things done. But here are the youth who are now suddenly, due to COVID, looking at the fact that, listen, I may not be able to complete my education because there is a problem at home. I may not be able to get an internship because the company says, listen, we don't have the time for interns. Or I'm looking at a job market that's very, very volatile. It's been happening. A lot of my friends who have taken a break because they needed to take care of somebody at home, support was not available. Now they're going back and looking at the job market. Even for a published job, they're not getting responses. Whether you're trained, not trained, it doesn't matter. Lot of impact on individuals respect to that. So I thought what he said was beautiful. Mental well-being. You lose confidence, you lose your self-esteem, you worry about what future you have, the fear, lack of trust, all of this comes across with that. But then it is very interesting. On the other hand, we are the youngest nation right now. 64% of our people are in the age group. 4 years ago, they kept telling this, and Modi ji has been saying that, listen, we are a young nation, make use of it. There's a positive, there is a negative. At present, I think what we are looking at is a scary picture where a lot of them have been impacted, whatever be the reason. And I was very, very sad when I read this. It says that 27 million youth are going to be out of job in the coming years. As I said, I'm not a maths person. I don't know. I only know it's a very, very scary and large number. And still worse, internationally, we are talking about 1 in 6 people have already lost a job since the outbreak. I can tell you, it happened in our house. I had, my maid she has 2 children. One, I think, both have just completed their grade 10 and they were going to, one was in the factory and one used to go to an office as a peon or whatever. Both these kids were out of a job within, 10 days. And look at the income, where it was 22 to 24,000 in her house was cut straight away. She could not come to work. So you're talking about almost 90% of the income of a house going down. She went back to her village and she still hasn't come back. It's almost a year and a half. I was looking at this scares me. Digital India. She was talking about use of technology. I'm going to reverse it and say, my God, we have a lot in our country. It is good. We have active social media users. We have mobile users. We have a lot of things happening with social media. But the interesting part is the digital divide. We know very clearly, there was a survey conducted across 23 states. And in that, it said that only 43.9% of the children going to school had smartphones. Another 44% had access to good phones, which they could use. 0.8% having access to laptops or computers or desktops. And there was some, that number is 12% did not even have smartphones or basic phones. I know this for a fact because we have built a lot of schools in rural Karnataka. And a lot of parents came back. We are farmers. We go to the farm. And our children, where do we leave them? We take them with us because now you don't have teachers who take care of them. And when do you want us to have classes? We are in the farm. We cannot help you with this. So the classes were readjusted to 6:30 or 6:30 to 9:30 schools have run in lots of parts of rural Karnataka. But worrisome, as Chanchala was saying, parents come back and say, listen, I don't know what to do with the child. Either they will sit with the child and criticize the teacher. Even adults are doing it. No, I have to sit with my child because he will not sit or she will not sit or the youth is doing it. They cannot support them. If the picture goes off, my God, what happened? Go check, fiddle with the phone or check with what's happening on the Wi-Fi. They do not have the digital skills to support their wards. In the last figure, I could cry at this. In a country like ours, 23.8 million children will drop out because they don't have access to digital technology. They don't have access to teachers. They're unable to go to schools. Everything has dropped. What are we talking about? There's so much that we need to do further. I was also talk a little bit about Indian economy, and then I will go back to what the youth are facing. The Indian economy, basically, because we are talking of youth, has supported youth, the lower strata, because we are talking about equity. They enter, he may enter as a server in the hotel industry, or he or she may come in as a peon or a driver or whatever, they're hired. Earlier, at least they could come in, they were able to contribute, take care of their needs, whatever it was, stay in a rented accommodation, 3-4 of them manage. But now it's not happening. They were only hired, now only part-time jobs. So you come and work for me for 10 days, after that, I don't guarantee a job. My own driver who is now looking, because he's not with us, he's moved on. 20,000 rupees has come down straight, an experienced driver, to about 12,000 to 14,000. He still has a son to educate. He still has a wife to take care of. His salary is basically barely taking care of the rent and whatever. Companies are not looking at people. They have stopped hiring and there are no pay hikes. I can tell you there are people who haven't got a pay hike for 2 years. They're still talking about what do I do? And since our economy is falling, we are in recession, our GDP is suffering. You also have the fact that nobody is going to look at, if we had a cook and, maid and somebody who came and cleaned in the evenings, we have now reduced it to maybe one person to take care of the fact that our income has reduced and we are better off than most people. So what is happening to the young people between, let's say, 17 to 25 years? Their disposable income has come down. And if they were in the company, they have been chucked out because somebody else has now taken on their job and they're working. The seniors are taking together. So job continuity, job security is gone. And earlier people would be taken, trained, and then put on the job. They were on the bench for a long time. They had time to learn. Now that luxury is missing. Even a postgraduate, a technical professional may not get the kind of time to train himself or herself for his job, or may not get the kind of options he's looking for. Coming back to our youth, what's happening to them? Amazing. The way they look at the social media or the internet. My God, most of them will believe what is said. And one of the things which has been found out in surveys is this fake news which travels. And that has brought down the trust levels in most people. Hardly people are looking, to spend time. Where do you get this? If a friend and family says something, only 6% will believe it. Most of them are scrolling. Okay. I think all families have gone through this. We used to watch COVID news, and after a point, we stopped watching the news because we got so scared. All the statistics, so many dead, so many, and those horrendous pictures of the cremation grounds, or for that matter, hospitals. Everybody, I think people have now moved out of it. But what has all this caused? This exposure. This exposure, whether it is technology, I think there is a learning deficit and disengagement. As she was saying, connect between the student and the child, connect between the teacher and the parent. And what has happened because of that? I don't even connect to my friend, right? He's another picture. We're all reduced to boxes. One of my colleagues used to always tell me, which photograph do you like? They used to say, oh, we like to see our long, nice portraits, right? But he said, what about your stamp size and portrait size pictures, the photograph, passport size? It's so terrible because we look like, that wanted sign in a jail. So that's what happens when you have Zoom. Most children don't even want to now switch on their videos because bandwidth may not be there. That's a question. 4 people using the laptop, the internet, mother, father, and 2 children, doesn't happen. So what happens? A lot of learning deficits have happened. And it will be a continued learning poverty. 1.5 years, beautiful statistics. They say the human capital, what I was capable of earning, my earning comes down by 7 to 10% in a lifetime. I mean, that is scary. If I would have earned 1 crore, take straight away 10 lakhs out of it, in my lifetime. That's a large number. And people are aware of it. And there will be less skilled task force which comes in. Very, very sad. We have malnutrition, the health aspects that we are looking at. Because the food supply was not happening in government schools or elsewhere. Nutrition has been a question. Most children sitting on a chair, 8 hours, 6 hours, have had weight gain. Teachers have had weight gain. Ophthalmological problems because of the increased screen time. A lot of back issues. Most of the time now people say, blink your eyes 10 times after every 30 minutes, or look at the green screen, or do some exercises, have some music. We have realized it almost after 9 months. But then those 9 months that happened, what has happened to that? And it has happened that everybody is now taking increased domestic workload. Somebody has to put the kachada, somebody has to mop the floor, somebody has to iron the clothes, somebody wash vessels. It's been something that's happened to everyone. But now child labor has become cheaper. Children are being sent because they cost less. That's a sad part of it. A lot of domestic abuse and violence is happening in all homes. Most homes, that's what they say. Wherever. So this is a cause for, again, worry. Somebody in their wisdom imagined that sanitary pads were not an essential item for women. And the production of sanitary pads was stopped in our country for whatever, 3 months, 6 months. There have been people who have not had access to it for 3 to 6 months and more. So you can imagine the menstrual hygiene, that we haven't been going to hospitals because of the fear. Doctors haven't even looked at us. What has happened to the vaccines for the children? What has happened to old age care? A lot of children in different parts of the country, young girls, are being married off. One of the things we want to achieve is zero child marriage. And again, it has come back to haunt us in a big way. What else is it that we are looking at? Because of this misinformation, there is a lot of cyberbullying and crime. Now people are tagging people along. Now they see, earlier nobody had WhatsApp groups or whatever. A lot of things are happening. Students are getting into kind of girls being bullied. You have an older person bullying somebody else. All of this leads to what? Leads to stress, anxiety, loneliness. And this is again between the age groups starting. I have spoken to a lot of young people who are in grade 8, 7. They say, we don't talk to anybody. We don't know. If my grandmother comes now, I wonder, why has she come to my house? So you're talking about a whole lot of issues, unemployment, drop in productivity. Most what worries me is this intergenerational conflict. The grandmother, if you're living in a house where there are 3 generations, there is more argument, more resistance, more questions. And the trust in public governance has reduced drastically. They don't believe it anymore. Governments cannot do anything for us. Let us tweet. Let us inform people. Let us form groups. Let us go ahead and do something else, because they feel nothing much is happening. So COVID has had its issues, and this has increased the distance or the inequality in our society. And what we can do to bring it back, as I look at it, if there is clear and open data available, everybody can share honestly. I still remember somebody said in a position of power that there have been no oxygen deaths in this country. And that was said in a house of governance in the parliament. And the kind of, wave of anger that was seen in the youth is scary. They said, how can you say there were no oxygen deaths? You absolutely, please tell us what is the truth. You can say that we failed. I know Karnataka government, we have had issues. A lot of things have happened. Because as communication has come down. And, there has been decision-making. We waited and waited and waited. When you read newspapers, you come to know that oxygen import was happening, but export was happening earlier. If that had been sort of diverted towards the other people, a lot of lives could have been saved. Focus on citizens. Who is important? Difficult to check there. Collaboration across with institutions and different companies and, CSR partnerships. All of this can happen. If it is done, it can be done beautifully, because the integrity of the public institution would be restored. Some of the things which I found very heartening. Some 25,000 youth, they call themselves the Blue Brigade, and they have gone across and worked on, vaccinations. They have worked on maternal and neonatal healthcare. They have gone and helped them understand the effects of COVID. I found this is beautiful. Somewhere there is a ray of hope with youth. Only they are our saviors. There's another something called as a, moving library. A teacher took a scooter and 2 of her students joined her, and in Madhya Pradesh again, in a tribal area, she went there because she did not want the children's education to be put on hold because of, let's say, lack of books. Another, these are children. These are probably 19-year-olds who study in a college, school and college, who have gone ahead and worked a door-to-door campaign. They have covered people and they've explained what is happening, what you can do, because a lot of negativity, a lot of superstition regarding vaccination, what COVID can do was there. Now, these are the people who are bringing back, bridging the gaps, the inequity which we see, the injustice which we feel, the lack of trust, faith is being again brought back by these people. I found this something very beautiful again. It's OECD which gives us this. And they tell us that let the youth run campaigns, whether on Twitter, whether, physically, let them go and let them keep others informed and themselves, because they're good. They can leverage. School children are doing it in a school in Bijapur where they started off with, how do I keep myself safe during COVID? I've had college children who have formed groups and they're tweeting, watching. They became, peer mentors, peer counselors. They're listening to each other and helping. Okay, your aunt has COVID, my mother has COVID. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Let's take things across. They formed a food group where they would cook and go and give it to their friends. They've done a lot of work from what I have seen. Lot of online service areas open up. That's what they are saying. And they're saying, be very practical when it comes to mental health. If somebody is anxious, please accept their anxious and their anxiety levels and work with them. And let there be a lot of support for the people who are vulnerable. They could be the homeless. They could be the people on, a lot of young girls who are destitutes, orphans now because they've lost parents. How do you take care of them? That is something that we need to be very careful about. Most importantly, this is something that I found, that national youth, let them all come together. Let there be research, let the research institutes, statistical institutes, schools come together, work together. Let there be people from different strata of society who can form, action groups, and they can work together. And what is important is public resources, when they're, what each group requires. What does youth require is very different from what an old age person would require. And public administration has to categorize them into groups and try to reach out to them. That is most important there. And they call them as recovery measures. And always believe that young people have greater energy. Can they be taken? Can they be the ones who become the face of the COVID campaign? I keep hearing Amitabh Bachchan's voice on the phone every time, COVID-19. Can we have young people? I would say an achiever who can, give me the message. They can come online. A lot of people, TV can be used. You have community radios where they can send things out. We have children. Most importantly, involve them in decision-making and share with them authentic information and tell them, identify who need help. We have, the government has done some beautiful things. I was reading the Mano Darpan, which they have started, or Snehi, that is a psychosocial, Mano Darpan is a telephone line, because domestic violence, when we talk about women, I would mention it, where it is happening, and they just pick up. They have some beautiful ways, signs and colors and masks which you wear to indicate if you're facing abuse, and how do we stop it. So I would say there is a huge road ahead of us, and we really need to prepare ourselves emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically also to take this challenge on and depend on the youth, but also be the mentors and guide for them. Most importantly, I don't know how many of our young people have read these reports. I was just thinking, an OECD report, a UNESCO report, a UN report, it's all about them. Have we, even I haven't made the effort to share it with people. I think as a teacher, as somebody in the field of education, why don't I do that? I need to share it with the teachers, with the parents, and let them all have debates. This is a problem. What can we do? In our own community, I'm sure there are ways in which we can reach out. To me, that would be the best way of, taking things across. So I was just thinking that that's something which I felt was very valuable. But we've also worked on a couple of projects earlier where, again, in the rural teacher training, very close to my heart, we had all these young people, who had come out of school, college, even B.Ed graduates who couldn't speak a word of English, but they wanted to become teachers. I can just quote two examples very close to my heart. One girl used to sweep, in the school and the college where I used to go and train teachers. She would come and stand outside the door and keep listening to what I was saying. I was obviously talking in English. She didn't understand much of it. But then she would go and talk to the other teachers or the principal and say, what did man say? What can I do? We watched her. We watched her for almost, every time I went in a year, she was there. And she just stood outside the door. Let me tell you, our sessions were 8 hours long. And this girl, again, would be there, would clean that place, come and help us with the food. And again, in the evening, she says, so finally we asked her, what is it that you want to do? She said, in Kannada, she told me, I'll just repeat it. Madam, B.Ed ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡೇನ್ರಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಸಿಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. I've done my B.Ed, but I don't get a job. So we said, you want to learn something? Come to us, we will do. And we started off a program where communication skills, right from training them on concepts, teaching skills, assessment. We had a mentoring program. We attached them to a school. They would go and do their practice teaching there. I was so proud the day that girl finished. She was talking English, 5 sentences. We had a 4-month program. She learned it and she topped the program. And today she is working in an international school as a coordinator. Hard work that led her to there. Another boy, a farmer's boy, didn't have even that 4,000 rupees to pay for the fees. We sponsored his fees. He was working as a salesman earlier. Today, he's completed the program and has gone back as a Kannada teacher. And, the entire family has been uplifted. We worked in a government school where we had children coming from slums, literacy, numeracy, Kannada language, science, nothing was there. And as a team, we, went there and did a lot of work, right from assessing where they were, what were the problems, having a lot of visuals, which we used, imagery, mind mapping, and take them. If somebody is in grade 9, we would start from grade 2 and, take them till grade 9 and keep them ready for that exam. Oh, those have been the beautiful experiences we have had with equity, where I've seen firsthand, if there is passion and if there is, you have to keep struggling. There is only one way. You have to discover it. There's no fixed formula for bringing about equity. You have to see what is going on, persevere, and you'll find the answer. To me, that is the best way. And I think youth, we should do the same. Yes, Chanchal, I would like to add something.
Ma'am, I was speaking to a bunch of young girls today.
Right.
I was taking their feedback. I was telling we are doing the session on equity. And what is the youth thinking about the whole situation they are in? So they say, beautiful insights that I've got. They say, yes, there is no interaction. We miss the friends, meeting them in person, the bond that we had somewhere in the internet or when we communicate through the gadgets. There's always a gap.
Yeah.
And then they were telling, yes, but I would appreciate online. We get our paper correction done very quickly. It's a digital mode. I get it instantly. And they said the positive part of it was I'm able to use resources, multiple resources in online, which I was missing when I was at physical. Then I would say it was more than activities. It was more of travel time that we were into. That is reduced.
Yeah.
That has reduced, but we miss the connect we had with the teacher. The freedom of approaching a teacher to get our doubts cleared. And they gave me a solution to, I would say, this is innovation. They said, Yes, teachers have back-to-back classes now. It's hard to find them. But we have taken out a new technique to deal with this. We have formed a friends group across schools too, where I discuss my doubts, where I do this in an amazing way. Yes, I'm blessed with youth at home. So, and I was like Sunita ma'am, you were sharing about this lady and doing the mobile library and how innovative they are. I was really surprised. We run a free school. I mean, we have very many free schools, and out of which one in Nepal, the youth gave a solution for equity. There was the digital gap that was there. They went to the village and they told everybody in the village, anyway, your shops are shut for a few days, but you all have the mobile phones. If you give it on rental to the students who are studying, this is a revenue generation that I can think of. So yes, and they did it. All the villagers would lend the phones, and it was on rental, but it was really, and the villagers were also scared about the educational disconnect, so they would give it on a very minimum price. I would say this is innovation. This is a great step that youth is taking towards equity. They are finding their own solutions to reach out to the equity. That is amazing. But yes, it's just a start. And I think youth are the right people where we speak to them about equity, the gaps that are created, and they are, and we give them the freedom to do whatever they want to bridge that gap. I would say they will be bringing in the innovation to reach out. I mean, there were amazing innovations that were done with regard to medical equipments. I really remember the game that DPS, one of the student, had built, which resembles the Mahabharata Chakravyuh. So, I mean, we give them the freedom. I think that is the secret for them to be innovative. And I say, put the equity issue in front of them. They will have 100 solutions for that. I would say that is something that youth has the power, and let's leverage the power to gain equity across. Yes, so ma'am, you rightly said women is something that we have to touch up upon, because yes, I was really scared when I read this news in Hyderabad that there was an 8-year-old who was found in a bar. Which is very, very scary. I mean, yes, the crime rate, we are speaking about women empowerment. I remember we did an amazing session with Gulshan ji about women empowerment, where my students were telling me, teach them finances, teach them law and justice, teach them so many things, teach them self-defense. But I would say, where are these young girls when all this is happening? I would say, let us charge them with the issues of equity and attain it. But I would say, yes, women, yes, Ms. Anuradha was planning to deal with it, but yes, we will take it forward from here. Yes, women is really important.
We take quickly, I think there's some lovely images which she has put together. Let me just take that quickly, because these images really hit you, right? About women. There's an image of garment factory workers waiting outside, and It has been shut for 10 months. I know this for a fact. There is a housemaid who was working. Now she has set up shop outside in a park, hoping that she's able to retrieve something because she doesn't have, she's not allowed into the apartment that she was going. There are a lot of people who prepare these, we call them as bidri butte. It is made of cane. It's used. This has come to a standstill. I also see a lot of women now going into selling flowers outside the park, where there were only 2 people earlier. Now there are 25 sitting. I wonder what happens to them, because you wonder who will you go to, because it's a market. The one who gives the cheapest will come there. This is very nice for me to see. It says that women have always worked more than the men. They have always been on double shifts, going to work in the morning and coming back and managing the house. And if you look at it, it is more likely. Now, it is the scary part was people who have considered wanting to leave a job has gone up by almost 1.3%, 1.3 times they would think compared to men, or putting their careers on hold because the support is not available. They're not able to manage things, which means it has affected everybody across the spectrum, not just one person. And if you look at it, this is interesting. India has slipped 28 places down when it comes to, gender equity that you're looking at. It's scary. Educational attainment, everywhere we have gone down. It's not in just one. And when you look at it, the balance is swinging like a pendulum. You have it going either way. Men are still doing better. And it was sad that we are 140 now when it comes to the global gap in terms of gender, in terms of economic participation. If you see, it's all down. And it's more in favor of what happens to what was in 2021. We are all gone down the drain. Political empowerment, we have gone down. Health and survival, we have gone down. It's scary. And this, when you look at very clearly, it says less than 25% of the women are in the labor force in India, and few women are literate than men, despite higher enrollment across. We have this wonderful thing that says we have achieved almost, we say 90% literacy in some places, 100% somewhere else, and 65%, so it balances out. But my question is, what is literacy all about? If I can read, write is literacy, or I know I'm literate and somebody tries to, sort of cheat me, I know what to do. We don't know that. Even that is a bad state. But this is what I found, which a lot of technical terms here, but I'll try and put it in very simple forms. It says that women have been generally earning less, saving less, probably holding less property or less shares or whatever kind of thing compared to men, most cases. And what has happened is earlier, whatever, there has been a cash flow crisis in the lower strata, the lower socioeconomic, people don't have bank accounts. They really don't know the technical ways in which to transfer money. So what happens is they were dependent on cash. That has created a problem. Unpaid work has increased. We all have experienced it. At home, I know during the pandemic, I didn't have time to breathe because I had two senior citizens at home. My mother was critically ill, so which meant we had to take care however it worked. So as children are at home, so your food business never ends. You have, things to happen. So a lot of things happening there. But what was scary was the gender-based violence has gone up because there is a lot of frustration at home. I know bars were closed, liquor shops were closed. There are people in the lower strata who would depend on it. That was maybe a way out for the women. I have so many times we have seen, take the money and go, just leave me alone because I don't want to be beaten up. I've heard stories from children in schools where, there has been a lot of abuse. But what is worrying me also is I have never put a priority for myself. Everything else takes a priority now because finances have reduced. Maybe it could be health. Okay, if I can put this money for my child's fees, or I can use this for the treatment of somebody else. So that has led to a dip in the reproductive health services, maternal care, It could be in terms of the menopausal issues that women have faced, whatever. Everywhere this women's, it has come down. So what does it say? That 2.7 billion workers, representing about 81% of the world's workforce, were out during the lockdown. And they say that a lot of things have to be done to change. So what has happened to this? Because of this prolonged dip, and you're going to have, we say, recession, we will not have our GDP will not increase. So, this is going to be a nightmare that will still persist. It's not just going to come down in a day. It's not going to, and women have lost the lowest strata who are working as peons or who are in schools as ayas, or you're talking about healthcare also everywhere, who would be taking care of the hospitals, the mopping, the cleaning, whatever. All of them have been impacted. And then what happens? Well, what can you do in order to improve this? They say that give them cash, have programs where cash reaches them, food reaches them, whatever you want to look at. And whatever programs are there, strengthen them. But again, they're saying, bring them back, identify the people. And also there's a lot of tax burden on women in the middle class or a little bit on the upper middle class. Can you reduce that as well? And there are women who were entrepreneurs. I remember this lady who used to, provide us with pickle or papad or something. She used to do it. Now that it's gone kaput, her business, because she doesn't have the required. She needed 2 people to help her out. She doesn't have that. So she is now out of business as well. And they say there are a lot of, women networks, NGOs who are working. Utilize them, partner with them and get things to happen, especially in the microfinance and the saving groups. Can you communicate to them what each program is about? And also importantly, carry out checks on what can be done and how to take it forward. This is another very interesting picture about how the healthcare, most of them are women, they've been saying, whether they're nurses or you have people in the front desk or you have people, dietitians, you have who take care in the housekeeping, all of them have been impacted. And they were at risk most. Anganwadi workers, I know the Anganwadi workers in Karnataka were at great risk. The teachers, the women in schools, I know a lot of them who used to go as part of the Vidyaranya program in Karnataka, going to a cluster of children in a temple or in, a locality, a big hall kind of a thing where they have taught, they have been impacted. Some of them have not even got the compensation that they needed. That is what they say. 70% of the frontline health workers, especially women, they need more support. And they say that many people do not know what is happening, how they can, this, every time we talk of something new. So they don't even have the right information about COVID. And also look at women and make provisions for them and how their, reproductive and sexual health can be taken care of in terms of their medication or whatever they require, support from the mental health workers as well, because a lot of them would have been depression. These are some pictures about unpaid care, what happens in work, which is going on. Interesting statistics. A lot of work has been done by UNESCO, I must admit, for the first time that I am looking at. I hadn't done my work either. So a lot of things happening compared to men, what goes on. And they talk about what women do. This is again from ILO, International Labour Organization has put something together. Interesting because you see the images catch you, the statistics catch you. 75%, women do 75% of the world's paid care work or 80% of the unpaid care work. And what do you do there? How do you take care of them? And a lot of migration happening. That is also there. Migrant workers coming from, because maybe they don't have rains. What do? Come here, they come to the households. Agriculture sector is suffering. So how do you take care of them? Agriculture, construction, manufacturing had stopped. Construction to an extent is open now. A lot of things to be looked at. And what they're saying is school closures have put extra pressure on children, on students. We also have the global crisis. Very, very clearly it says what we need to do. And what they're saying is Please take care. The older persons also, healthcare has suffered. We have unpaid family givers who never used to come. They have had issues. So childcare support has to be increased. The school daily meal programs which they have had, they have to be reinstated. Again, they should have sufficient access to hygiene, water, sanitation. These are all part of what was happening earlier. They were what made them live at least a decent life. They were surviving. Even that's been taken away now. This is what they say is called as shadow. I mean, I didn't know this. It's the shadow COVID. 243 million who have undergone sexual abuse. And it's difficult to even accept it, think about it. And how do we deal with this? Because now they're due to lockdowns or probably restrictions, they can't talk to any helpline. Even if it's available, there's nobody to attend to it. They can't go out. The perpetrator may be at home. So they'll have to live with the perpetrator, whatever it may be. And the statistics are really scary. In fact, they have mentioned that within, in the report, not only OECD, but even otherwise, that within 10 days of lockdown, they got a 90% increase in the help calls they were getting initially, because in the West, even in India, it happened. The abuse was being reported, but very little that could be done to go and support them. They couldn't leave the house, people go to them. The highest shadow, violence, domestic violence, 4 leading states, they have given this statistic about India, 2020, very, very recent. And this is after COVID, started off. Scary. I don't even want to look at it, because look at it in the sense it makes you wonder what you're doing. As an individual, as part of the community, what is it that we could do? We've never put our minds to it. We only look at it, read in the newspapers, or help out in whatever little way we can. But I think concerted effort is required in this direction. If it is not done, we would lose whatever chance we have of having equity in this country. It would be very sad. So some of the initiatives which have been taken up, not that they are not there, just give them, laws are being changed, some resources are being put together. We have had, that's what I was talking, code words, hand signs, funding has been increased. And, mass media campaigns have been taken out in the countries. There's a whole Excel sheet available that outlines very clearly what has been done in each country. To me, that is what we are looking at in the world. This is one part of it. There is an economic part. What happens on the social front? Social front, again, women lose whatever little, we were looking at ways of coming together. But if the disparity goes on, then equity would be difficult. If the mother in the house or the sister, wherever, women are not getting the due that they need, how on earth would we want? How do you say it is a fair world, a just world where we are trying? So these are the issues that I wanted to present. Over to you, Chanchla. Anything you would like to add?
Ma'am, when it comes to equity, now we have covered students, youth, women, but something very close to my heart as a teacher are the kids with the learning disabilities. Have we done equity for them? Have we planned any equity for them? Where is the access for them for the remediators? There is some amount of physical presence that is required. That is leading to a bigger gap. We had inclusion in the mainstream. There is suddenly, I had a student and the fathers approached me. I had availed for his concessions in grade 9, and this parent approaches me telling that, ma'am, I want to move him out. This online education is having to impact.
That won't work.
So I'm really worried about the equity and the gap that it is creating. I would say, let's be innovative to bridge the gap. We all speak about equity reduces the achievement gaps and the performance gaps and everything. It decreases the gap between achievement and the performance gaps.
Yeah.
But where I would say innovation is the secret for bridging or bringing in equity. And the power lies in the hands of youth. But before we actually go back, I would love to share some person who's really, I fell in love when I was doing the case study of this principal, this school leader. Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? Yes. Bernie, no. I mean, he is Lakeside School's principal from Seattle. And when I was doing the case study of Bernie now, I just fell in love. And this was recently that I have done the case study on him. And I was really flattered. I mean, he inspired me to be a better school leader, because this gentleman, Mr. Bunny, when he joined the school 20 years back, and this is the school where all the big people go to, all the kids of big jargons go. So there's no dearth of money. There's no dearth of infrastructure. There's no dearth of flow of money or anything. But he knew that the performance gaps were very few, but then there was equity that he kept pointed towards. Bernie thought that, yes, the school is quite expensive. How do I reach out? How do I reach out to bigger public? He said, yes, this is one gap that I want to fill. I would say if I was a principal of such a school where everything is going amazingly good, I would say, oh, I don't have to work really on that, any other thing. But he looked at equity, how far he is able to reach out to the other areas. And then he started his another branch in downtown Seattle, which very little infrastructure, the fee structure was low, and he was able to reach out. When he was managing both the schools and the COVID happened, he realized that the Lakeview School was not able to adapt to the online education as swiftly as the downtown school was able to. And he was like surprised, why this difference? And then he understood that it was freedom that was responsible for, because they were the mindset, the frame that I have shared with you all. It says create situations where there is dearth and I give you the solution. I take part in the innovation to create a solution for that. So the downtown school was facing with many issues with regard to resources, and they were more innovative. But then when the online thing started, he further thought about the equity, and he took COVID as an advantage to launch his complete online schooling. He started complete online schooling. He said Lakeview School does amazing. So let me go beyond this. So this was one principle that I would say has really impressed me, because all through, though Equity was there in his own school, but he looked out for equity across. He looked out for how far I can reach out. And this is where the innovation of we don't have any complete online schools. Yes. So seeing that, yes, necessity is the mother of invention, I come up with more, even though there is no necessity, is something that he has proved. Because one thing that he was craving for was equity, was including equity across different earning systems. I mean, the earning capacity of people, he had stretched as much as he could. Yes, I would say Harvard, Cambridge, everybody is striving now for equity. And they are posting, I would say, many universities, even in India, they are telling, come, we have the resources. There are many new innovations, I mean, I would say online courses that have been started. They say, yes, we've already went beyond. Let's connect globally and bring in more. I would say this is strive for equity, and this is what we should look forward for. I would say, yes, we have worked a lot, but yes, that one extra step that every teacher makes in her role of reaching out to each and every child. Because I plan my lesson plan with activities, which says, yes, I'm reaching out. But can we look out if the product is prepared or the product is getting that particular supply or not? I would say that is somewhere the equity can be achieved. And innovation and youth, I would say, are the people who can do it and will do it. Thank you, sir. And I hope
Thank you very much to both of you. It was indeed wonderful. So much of insight, and like a good student, I picked up so many threads this evening, this morning, this afternoon, wherever people are. It was something amazing what we have done the journey, and there is a lot. It's a tip of iceberg which we could do because there's a limitation of times and resources. Couple of other things we have to take into consideration. To accommodate the entire world is very difficult because different time zones, people are sleeping. It's the middle of the night in Australia and New Zealand, but people are wide awake and they have just started their day in Canada, Latin America, US. And of course, people have enjoyed their wonderful lunch. They had their tea also now in entire European Union. And in India, people are planning to sleep after another half an hour or so. So let me just go over for 2 to 3 minutes before we close this session. Something very interesting that first of all, this evening, my deepest and heartiest congratulations to Sakshi. She is the winner for 1,000 rupees this evening. And she gets from our chamber, and we wish her all the best, something very nice. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to tell all of you, any program, any webinar with anyone at any point of time, it will give you something. It all depends on your aptitude, your taste, your interest, your bent of mind, your inclination. What do you want to pick up? What is most difficult thing in life? What is most difficult thing in life? I wanted to ask this as a second question. I can give 30 seconds. If somebody can post it over here on the YouTube, I give you 1,000 rupees. What is the most difficult thing in life? Okay, 30 seconds I want to give you. And so that, it's something very important. Now you would say, how do I give little clue also to them so that somebody can win? That is also very important. Okay, fine. I can just tell you some side, jargons. Yes, new education policy, 2020, 34 years, teachers, youth, technology, innovation, creativity. Now that's all. These many words I want to use. There is only one word you have to give me. Only one word. What is the most difficult thing in life? What is most difficult thing in life? If somebody can give me a correct answer on that, I give you 1,000 rupees right now. What is most difficult? Anybody? 30 seconds we give you. I think 20 seconds has already gone. I give you 10 more seconds. Somebody may be lucky. Somebody may be winner. And I want you should be winner. You should get the money from the chamber. Why not? You need pocket money at this point of time. Everybody needs. I know you all are struggling. Anybody? Okay, great. The answer doesn't come. I want to tell and I want to share with all of you. You know what is most important thing in life? And what exactly is the crux of everything? Change. Nobody wants to change. Everybody wants to pass today. They say, let today go on. आज का दिन गुजर जाए. किसी भी तरीके से आज का दिन गुजर जाए. कल देखेंगे फिर सुबह होगी. That was a beautiful movie of Raj Kapoor. Now I want to share, nobody wants to change unless the change is essential, important, imposed, pushed on you. You don't want to change. Nobody wants to change. That is the reality of life. We got to accept. This new education policy 2020, this digital, this flip learning, this blended learning, this outside classroom learning, and technology, innovation, permutation, combination, whatsoever we are talking about, we had no other option. The person who is drowning in the sea, in the water, they will hold to the grass also at that point of time, because you never know that grass may save you. Immediately after tsunami, I had gone with the Lieutenant General, one of the Indian Army officer, to tsunami, that is Andaman Nicobar. And we saw lots of dead bodies floating all around and everything, a lot of casualties and everything. And we adopted 50 children from there. And we told that we'll give them free education. We gave them the bachelor degree in tourism, hospitality, aviation, got them the jobs also. They are in a very good positions today, working at different places. One of the girl, she lost her parents, and 3 days she was floating on the window of their residence. 3 days she was floating on the window, like a doors, windows, grills, everything you have got. She was floating, she was going with the waves. And after 3 days from the helicopter, when we all were going, and I went all the way to those places, there was somebody who had just taken the oath, and he was one of the judges. Then there was another teacher who had gone over there, I think about a week back, with her parents, and she had just joined over there. There were so many people I have come across, and I realized, what is the difference between life and no life? It's all your realization. You got to understand. Nobody wants to change. That's the reality of a life. We all have to understand. Unless the change becomes essential, or it becomes unavoidable, or it becomes so difficult that you can't manage without it. So that is the question we have taken in the digital. Now coming equality, equity, there's so much done. I'm not going to share on that. I'm not going to work on that. You have done so much of justice, both of you. My deepest and heartiest congratulations, regards, gratitudes, everything. Now, one idea I have picked up from Sunita ma'am today, and I'm going to implement that within next 1 week or maybe 10 days with the help of Chanchala ma'am. Chanchala ma'am, if you're my younger sister, I'm not going to leave you just like that and so easily. Because anybody who comes in the fulcrum of Major Dr. Gulshan Sharma, there are electromagnetic wires and waves and digital technology all around. You can't escape. So thereby, now the task which we have to take on, something very interesting when she was talking about reports, you have also shown, you have also done the case study. Why not we should do one program which should be done exclusively on what all reports have been generated by UNESCO, by United Nations, by the World Bank, by the UNICEF, by the International Labour Organization. Let's bring all the reports to the universe, and let's bring different stakeholders together on a common platform. And all of us, we show those reports, we discuss those reports, at least the glimpses people will know in their own time, then they can go through. Aim is you give the initial ignition. You just give the ignition. The spark would be there, scooter will start, car will start, motorcycle will start, there is no problem. Let's give ignition. That is very important, which we have to work it out and we have to plan it out. Okay, coming to the next point. Now, now let's take everything in a very positive way, and I have to close this session in a very positive note. You have given me all challenges. Both of you, like my younger sisters, you have given lots of challenges. And I want to leave all my children on a very, very positive note with this feeling, everything is possible in this universe. And there's a beautiful book they all should go through. In fact, I am reading that book. मैंने बहुत कुछ उसका 9 घंटे का उसका ऑडियो अवेलेबल है, 9 hours. बुक का नाम है The Magic of Thinking Big. The Magic of Thinking Big. It has got an audio portion of 9 hours on YouTube. It has been written by Mr. David J. Schwartz. The Magic of Thinking Big. जैसे मॉर्निंग का प्रेयर करते हैं ना, आप आधा घंटा, सभी यूथ को मैं कहूंगा इसको जरूर सुनिए ऑडियो. I don't want that you should waste too much of money watching movies and all those kind of things. No, listen to the audio. Let it go to your heart, your spirit, your mind, your vision, and your thought process. That is very important, which we have to work on. 5 things I'll leave with all of you, with all the universe, all the teachers, those are watching, and all the students, those are watching. First of all, my deepest regards, gratitudes, and thanks to Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajanji, who has joined from United States in the morning. And I'm so very happy that on 15th of July, when the entire galaxy had come, they gave one scholarship to a person who posted approximately 200 posts in 1.5 hours on the YouTube. And the girl from Northeast got the scholarship to go to United States to do MBA. That was on 15th of July. Now 5th of September is coming, day after tomorrow. And you are getting another legend who was former president with one of the university in the Texas. And when he's talking about re-envisaging the education policy, he's going to talk about a couple of things. There are 5 areas which comes to my mind and I want to leave with all of you. Number 1, India has got a challenge: quality, quantity, and speed. This is my first challenge. Quantity, because population. Quality, nobody wants to work hard. Everybody says, आज का दिन तो गुजर जाने दो ना, कल सुबह होगी फिर देखेंगे. And third part, speed. We require speed. Second part, I won't call it a digital divide. Let's stop using this term digital divide. I want to be very positive. And I want to tell everybody, जब घोड़ा गाड़ी से when we came to locomotive, and from the locomotive, those steam engine, we came to electric engine or other diesel engine. And then we had gone to aircrafts. And we have gone to the aircrafts today where 500 passengers can travel together. Imagine the size of that aircraft where the food is being loaded for 14 hours, 500 passengers together, non-stop flight. Anything is possible on this earth, on this planet. Imagination and ignition to the imagination is very important. Imagination. बहुत सारे लोगों के पास ideas हैं. The problem is they don't implement them. Idea ही रह जाता है. They don't want to implement, and that's why they don't progress in life. Another thing, let's not call it a digital divide. It's a challenge which has come before us, and we have to find a solution. Why do we talk about smart cities? Why don't we talk about smart villages? Why do we talk all the times for urban? Why not we should talk about rural? Why do we call highways? Why don't we call digital ways? These are some of the questions which is coming to the mind, because we got to keep pace with time. We got to change with time. If the time needs at this point of time that the technology is to be adopted, and let me assure you, the way technology is advancing, children, my great grandchildren will laugh and they will tell me, don't tell that our great grandpa used to hold some apparatus or equipment in his hand. It will be all virtual world where nothing would be touched, nothing of that sort. That is going to come. We can't stop. We can't stop. That change is coming. It will come. Okay. I totally agree. There's a huge disconnect between the elders and the youngsters. Elders don't want to talk to youngsters. And all the time, biological age has got nothing. I might have done my PhD in 80s. It is of no relevance today. It is totally transformed. That tourism is not going on today. I got to take on new niche tourism, new packaging, new things. Everything has to be thought that way. So, digital divide should be taken into a positive way where we will talk about how to overcome this challenge and how e-learning. Let's talk positive. Earlier, you were handling only 40 students, 60 students. Now you can handle 6,000 students. Earlier, I'm sorry, I'm a teacher. There was no accountability of teachers because it was not transparent. Now education has become transparent. Everything is visible. We know what is being taught. Parents are principals now. Principal actuals are not existing over there. Why do we want to go back to let there be more transparency in the education? Let there be more change. You want to have a blended learning, no problems. But technology, you cannot stop. Innovation, you cannot stop. Social media, you cannot stop. हर एक जनरेशन को लगा है मेरे बच्चे मेरी बात नहीं सुनते, मेरे बच्चे मेरी बात नहीं मानते. हर एक को ये लगा, हमारे ग्रैंडफादर को भी यही लगा, उससे पहले वालों को भी यही लगा, और हमको ये भी लगता है हमारे पिताजी को कुछ नहीं आता था. ऐसा हमारे बच्चे भी कहेंगे और उनके बच्चे भी आगे कहेंगे. We all got to understand it's a generation gap which we have to narrow instead of widening it. Another thing very important, how to meet socio-emotional needs of all three I'm taking into. How to meet socio-emotional needs of educators, that means my teachers, youth, that means my students, and finally parents. They also have a challenge. कॉलेज को तो पैसे चाहिए, स्कूल को तो बच्चों की फीस चाहिए, उनको अपनी प्रॉब्लम्स है, पेरेंट्स को अपनी प्रॉब्लम है, उनको सैलरी नहीं मिल रहा, पहले 2 सैलरी आ रहा था, 1 सैलरी आ रहा है. We have to overcome that challenge. We have to overcome those difficulties. And you want to see tomorrow evening 8 p.m. you'll meet the youngsters from the entire northeast part of India. Tomorrow there's a motivational talk by youth and they all are from northeast. And I'm closing down, Chanchala ma'am. And the last is day after tomorrow on 5th of September. We have got lots of programs. Early in the morning, right from California on the Teacher's Day, Vidya se Adhyatam Vidya ki aur. Second part, right hand of Yash Chopra ji, who is onto the filmmaking. He'll talk about his life journey, how he started and where he has reached. 106 films being directed, produced, authored, helped, chiseled, packaged, developed, whatever name you want to call it, because English is a beautiful language. Use as many jargons as you can. Number 3, we'll have a session at 5 p.m. Children need money. So how Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise can help them to start business. And 8 o'clock, we will go to Texas. One person would be the winner of the scholarship. Let's do justice. Can we get 500 girls for that particular program? When we are talking about women empowerment, girl empowerment, child empowerment, anything, you got to bring awareness. I think 3 of us, 500 children, Chanchala ma'am will bring, 500 Sunita ma'am will bring, 500 I will bring. Let's see 500 people joining that day. At least there should be one winner who should get at least one scholarship to go to United States free of cost that day. And we will make sure it should be a girl child. Let's work it out. Let's plan it out. Let's make one evening which can bring a change. वो सुबह कभी तो आएगी. So green morning, green afternoon and green evening to everybody. And once again, my deepest and warmest thanks to both the ladies for such a wonderful session. We are almost coming to 2 hours close. Thank you. Thank you very much. एक जाते जाते अगर आप चाहें, क्योंकि होता क्या है, एनर्जी चाहिए होती है बच्चों को, और उस एनर्जी के अंदर, इसलिए हम तो कहते हैं ना अपनी एजुकेशन में भी चेंज लाइए. So music plays very important role for all of us. I hope Chitra ma'am has put at the right place. Let me just see. She has not put it at the right place. I will try and work it out, and it goes right over here. Yes, that's all.
Oslo.
That's all. I wanted this much only, not the complete song, because technically, legally, you cannot use more than 1 minute. So I want to use that much only. I just wanted to leave the spirit. Evening 10 o'clock should be as warm, as fresh for every child. All the boys and girls, young boys and girls, and all the teachers, let's join hands, because join us and you will see Chanchala ma'am getting 500 children and Sunita ma'am getting 500 children. When I say children, teachers can also be there. I don't want to count that way. Let's get 1,500 people together and show to America. And one of the girls should get a scholarship that day. I would request Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajan, there should be a one winner that day on the Teacher's Day. Let's make one girl child empowerment. अगर आप किसी एक बच्चे की भी जिंदगी का बदलाव ले आए और चेंज ले आए तो you can do the wonders. With these words, I just close the session with the deepest gratitude. Thanks, and thanks to everyone.